So those are some of the definitions for these fields and some of those conditional edits that we have been talking about. Now, typically in the actual production environment, there would be validation errors or certification errors that would be applied to make sure that these fields or the code values within the fields are populated correctly. But unfortunately, we're so far away from the actual end of year submission that the validations and certification errors are not available yet. They have not been developed yet. But we do have a few documents that can help. At least one of them is really, really important, and that is the CALPADS File Specifications document that I wanted to share really quickly with you. But before I share that document, what I'm going to do, so I just wanted to show you folks, for those who are new, this page is really, really important. This is on CDE's website, the CALPADS portion of it, and is the CALPADS system documentation page. And we'll provide you this URL at the end of this presentation. This is where you can go and download all the important documents that we have been referencing during this training today, right? So if you go to the CALPADS system documentation link in here on the top, which is here, I'm on that page. Right under system documentation, you will have link to the CALPADS code sets, file specifications, and there are two types of them. One is a Word document that has more detail, and there's a spreadsheet also. And then we also have the CALPADS valid code combinations document that I referenced earlier. And then down the line, when we actually get closer to the submission, you would want to download the error list document, which will have a list of all the input validations, certification validations, along with some information to help you how to resolve these different types of errors, right? But for right now, in addition to these documents here, this page also have really important links related to the communications that go out from the CALPADS team to the field. These are the flashes mostly, and also some Q&A links, links to the listserv, etc. Right? So really, really good web page to bookmark, especially if you're new, to get access to the different resources that you need quickly. All right. So one of those files that I mentioned is the CALPADS file specifications document. Okay. So I want to bring your attention to section 3.21, 3.21, right? This is where the work-based learning file format is and all the details that you would need in case you missed something in this presentation, right? So it goes through the different pieces of information that you would need for this file, but the actual body of this section shows you the record layout for WBLR, right? And these first data elements in here that are listed, these are some common data elements that your student information system automatically populates for you. Some of them and some based on what you have inputted, such as school of attendance and NPS. But on page 385 of the most current version, this is where those fields that I've been talking about in the previous section of this training, that's where it starts. So this is the document that will give you the definition of all the data elements for this file type, right? And if you look at the definition columns here, it will give you that information. The list of the code values for this field, I just added this by myself. It's not originally there, but that is off of the code sets document, right? There are comments in here related to these different data elements and also the validation and required fields. These are where you will find the conditional edits for some of these fields, right? And what validations are applied to them. So for the work-based learning code type, it is a required field for any student that you submit in this file. And the student must be in grades 9 through 12, right? And then the rest of the fields are where you see those conditional edits. So for example, for internship ID, if work-based learning type code is a 10, which is internship, then yes, meaning this field is required, else no, otherwise it's not required. So this is where you can find those conditional edits. And this is really important because as you're populating this information in your student information system, you want to make sure you're aware of these conditional edits that would be applied to these fields. So that way you can populate your SIS properly and you can train other staff on how to input this information correctly, right? And some of you may also want to even run some queries to check to make sure that these fields are populated correctly ahead of time. That will ensure that you will have less validation errors down the line when you actually upload these files in CALPADS. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this section 3.21. This is where you find the definition of the fields as well as the requirements and conditional edits that are applied to some of them. All right, and then the next document that I want to share with you, this is the CALPADS code sets document that we have been talking about a lot. And for the CALPADS administrators, you folks are already aware of this document. I've seen it probably before, but for those that are new, this is where you will find the detailed definitions of the code values for different data elements, right? An example of that is the work-based learning type. So in the code set name column, you can filter by different code set names, and I have filtered for work-based learning type in this case. And as you can see, it gives me the different codes for work-based learning type and the detailed definitions, right? So some of the content that I presented in the previous section came from here, but I did not present all the content from this slide because it's very dense. So feel free to review these definitions offline, either by yourself or as a team collectively if there's a need. Okay, I just wanted to show you this. Okay, and I think that's all I wanted to say about validations and documents. I'm not sure if there are any specific questions for these.
Let's see. So a lot of you are still asking specific questions about definitions of each of these work-based learning types, what they include, what they don't include. So Slyman did show you how to get to the CALPADS code set document. And you would select the work-based learning type code set name. And this gives you comprehensive definitions of all of these different work-based learning types. Another question came in and said, well, hey, I don't see the embedded state course code set. And that's because that in that particular field where you're identifying the course that a student-led enterprise or virtual or simulated work-based learning is a component of, you're using just the regular state course code set, right? So that's, and it does not necessarily have to be just a career technical education course. So that's another question that still keeps coming in. Are we only tracking this for CTE students? No, right? Or if a student-led enterprise component is a part of let's say civics course, I'm just being hypothetical here, obviously, but if it's a history course, right, and you've got a student-led enterprise component of the history course, you would report that history course as the course that contains that student-led enterprise. It does not have to only be a CTE course.
So, Brandy, this is Jenny. I just want to clarify why we are saying it's not just CTE. So the board really wants to get to a point to where we can have a well-prepared category. And that means that a student is prepared for college and career. So with that in mind, we need to keep in mind that there are students who are on a college, maybe a college prep course. That's where they're moving towards. But we would still want them to participate in internships to get the kind of valuable learning that is required for them to be successful in a career. And that is why it's not just limited to CTE. It's for all students, because at some point we would like to see all students be college and ready for college and career.
Another question that keeps popping up is what specific information about work-based learning programs for students with disabilities. And again, so the codes 60 and 65, which are the transition work, classroom-based work exploration. Okay, so they're taking coursework, at least over grades 9 through 12, they've completed at least 4 semesters of classroom-based work exploration or the work experience. They've completed a minimum of 100 hours over grades 9 through 12 in an actual work experience environment. Those are specific to students with disabilities. And when I say students with disabilities, I'm talking about any student on an active IEP between the grades 9 through 12, and that includes adults in transition. Even though you have to work with your special education data coordinators to get that information on students that have completed any of those programs, it is going to be coming from the student information system. The confusion is last year we actually collected those data in the special education data systems, but because of the nature of those systems and the way that data get into CALPADS, it didn't make sense to put them in there. And so we moved everything, all of the work-based learning programs, into the student information system. So you have to coordinate with your special ed folks to get it into the student information system if you have students with disabilities completing these programs. But the other thing is, remember, if a student with disabilities, if a student's on an IEP and they complete an internship, report the internship. If they are in a course that has a student-led enterprise, and Jenny, one of the questions we got about that specifically was for students with disabilities that are in like special day classes where they run a restaurant within the school. Does that count towards a student-led enterprise?
So it counts if the students actually developed their own business plan and put it together. If it is something that's already in place and students just work there, then it's not a student-led enterprise. So it has to be actually something that the students put together.
And then another question that keeps popping up is for virtual or simulated work-based learning, there's some, in the definition, it specifically excludes online courses and programs. So the question keeps popping up, well, we're all online this year because of COVID. So do those programs count if they're online? What's the distinction there?
So of course, these definitions were done before COVID. So we don't want just someone to take an online course and say, oh, I've taken an online course, so now I should get credit for that. That was the purpose of putting that in there. We want students to actually get the benefit of participating in something that allows them to use their skills. So lots of times now during COVID, we are having a lot of people work online, but it is still the same skill sets that we are looking for students to get. Are they actually working collaboratively with people? You can do that online. Are they learning the skill sets that for that particular job? Are they managing their time properly? Are they producing work that is acceptable? So in that sense, this year is very different. So yes, we would take students who participate in a virtual setting, not just taking an online course that goes through where they answer a couple of questions and they considered to have passed the course.
Right, and so I think the distinction there, Jenny, is like there's a teacher teaching the course,
Yes,
rather than it just being a software-based program.
correct.
Okay, and so we also had a few questions about the fact that the state or federal job programs, so California Conservation Corps, Job Corps, WIOA, they're questioning whether or not they could report those for students that are dropouts, that are no longer enrolled, that are participating in those programs. And I think the distinction is that many of those programs, a lot of our charter schools within the state of California actually administer those programs. So they could have been a returning dropout, okay? But the key is, in order to report a student as completing one of these programs, they had to have been enrolled in a California school this year. You can't report them for students that are no longer enrolled. So, and those programs are charter schools generally have partnerships with California Conservation Corps, Job Corps, WIOA, and Youth Build, and they are specific charter schools designed to recover dropouts. Okay, so if you have students that complete those programs, you definitely want to report them. But again, they had to have been enrolled in the 2021 academic year. Okay, let's see. For StudentLed Enterprise, does that mean with each new group, they need a new student-created business plan?
That is correct. So if you had a student group that actually started a business and then you're just the following year, new students are just going in and taking over and working there, that doesn't count. They have to actually develop their own business plan every year and implement that business plan.
Great. Okay, so Leanne's asking, how is workability data for SPED students reported? Okay, so we talked about codes 60 and 65, which are the transition work-based experience or transition classroom-based work exploration. You will notice that last year when we collected in the SPED systems, we actually had specific language in there that referred to Department of Rehabilitation, Student Services, and Workability. But then what we figured out was a lot of districts run programs for students with disabilities that are not necessarily affiliated with one of those programs. Okay, so Leanne, the question is, the answer to your question is you would report those under codes 60 and 65. That includes the Workability and Department of Rehab Student Services, but it's not limited to those two programs for students with disabilities. Okay, can you clarify if you do not have a certificated teacher supervising the internship and the standards aligned to CTE pathway, how would this count? So have you determined, Jenny, how you're going to use that that indicator, whether or not the internship was supervised by a certificated staff member?
Yes, I mean, we do have it. It does have to be supervised by someone with a certificate. The whole point of this is to tie the internships, to the curriculum, not necessarily a course per se, because summer internships are not connected to courses. But the whole point is to make sure that the student has a rich experience and is supervised by a certificated staff.
Okay. So can we count the capstone project that's led by an industry partner as work-based learning? So generally associated with their capstone course, there's a project that's led by an industry sector partner. So could they count that as towards work-based learning, or would that only count towards CTE pathway completion?
I'm not that familiar with that, so I'm going to ask Michelle for her feedback here.
Yeah, I would say, I think a key point would be, is that employer then providing feedback for those students? Are they providing a, like with internships and so forth, they actually provide documentation back that says the student has met, X, Y, and Z competencies, and then they've actually met, the information. So to me, it doesn't sound, the way that question is asked, it does not sound like that would count. That sounds like that would just be an in-course type of in-class project that would be happening, and not an actual work-based learning experience. So I'm happy to, if somebody wants to email me and ask me further, but I think I would need more information there. But at this point, just based on that information, I would say that probably would not count.
Okay, so this is a good question. So for a student who works in the campus cafe, this can't be a student-led enterprise, but it can be an internship, correct? Would that count as an internship for a student who works in a campus cafe?
I guess I look at that like as if somebody was working like in a student store, right? I mean, to me, that's a student-led business. I mean, that's a student-led enterprise. So if they're working in the cafe, if they're updating the plan each year and so forth, Jenny, feel free to chime in here. But if they're working in the cafe, and that might be like an on-campus internship, possibly. I guess the question is who's supervising the student and how's that being documented?
Also, just wanted to clarify this end of year one submission. Some of you are asking whether or not this end of year one submission will have to be certified by your CALPADS. The answer is no. Is that a round of applause, right? It doesn't have to go through 2 levels of certification. Nothing against CELPA. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this is not one of those submissions in which we are requiring a 2-tiered two tiers of certification.